Hi students, I'm Praveen Sebastian Paul. In this lecture, we are discussing how to assess the hazards as well as the risk factors in a hazard. The hazard assessment and the risk assessment are two different concepts. When we come to the hazard assessment, it consists of determining the following factors like when and where the hazardous process have occurred in the past. Second one, the severity of the physical factor of past hazardous processes. Thirdly, the frequency of occurrence of hazardous process. Fourth one, the likely effects of a process of a given magnitude if it were to occur now. And finally, making all this information available in a form useful to the planners and public officials responsible for making decisions in the event of a disaster. So these are the major factors for assessing or assessment of hazard. So when we come to the risk assessment involves not only the assessment of hazard from the scientific point of view, but also the socio-economical impacts of hazardous events. A risk is a statement of probability that an event will cause X amount of damage or a statement of economical impact in a monetary term that an event will cause. The risk assessment involves hazard assessment as we mentioned above. Second one, location of the buildings, highways and other infrastructure in the area subject to hazard. Thirdly, potential exposure to the physical effects of a hazardous situation. And finally, the vulnerability of the community when subjected to physical effect of this event. Risk assessment aids decision makers and scientists to compare and evaluate the potential hazards, set priority on what kind of mitigations are possible, and set priority on where to focus resources and further studies. So based on the hazard assessment as well as the risk assessment, the prediction and warning systems are introduced by these disaster management systems. So by the prediction and warning, the risk and the vulnerability can sometimes be reduced if there is an adequate mean of predicting a hazardous event. So the prediction of a hazardous event will certainly reduce the impact of that particular hazard, and thus the prediction involves a statement of probability that an event will occur based on scientific observation, and such observations usually involves monitoring of the process in order to identify some kind of precursor events, an anomalous small physical change that may be known to lead to a more devastating events. So which simply means that hurricanes are known to pass through several stages of development: a tropical depression, tropical storm, and finally the formation of hurricane. Once a tropical depression is identified, monitoring allows meteorologists to predict how long the development will take and the eventual path of the particular storm. And second example is the volcanic eruptions. The volcanic eruptions are usually preceded by a sudden increase in the number of earthquakes immediately below the volcano and change in the chemical composition of the gases emitted from the volcanic vent. If these factors are closely monitored, volcanic eruptions can often be predicted with reasonable accuracy. And the second precautionary step is the forecasting step. Sometimes the word forecast is used synonymously with prediction and other times it is not. In a prediction of flood, hurricane and other weather-related phenomena, the word forecast refers to short-term prediction in the term of magnitude, location, date and time of event. Most of us are familiar with this type of weather forecast. In the prediction of earthquakes, the word forecast is used in a much less precise way. referring to a long-term probability that is not specific in the term of exact time that the event will occur. And the third one is early warnings. A warning is a statement that a highly probability of a hazardous event will occur based on the prediction or forecast. If a warning is issued, it should be taken as a statement that normal routines of life should be altered to deal with the danger imposed by the imminent event. The effectiveness of a warning depends on the timeliness of the warning, effective communication and public information system to inform the public of the imminent danger, and thirdly, the credibility of the source from which the warning comes. If the warnings are issued irresponsibly without credible data or sources, then they will likely be ignored. Thus, the people responsible for taking action in the event of a potential disaster will not respond. So, the warning systems should be effectively handled based on the timeliness, effectiveness, and credibility of the warning system. So these are the different measures which is used to assess the hazard, assess the risk, as well as reduce the casualty occurring due to a hazard. So my dear students, hope you had understood this topic. So dear students, kindly go through these assignment questions. First question is, explain hazard assessment and risk assessment. Second one is, write about prediction, forecasting, and early warning techniques in hazards. So my dear students, in the upcoming lectures, we will discuss the human-made or man-made disasters. See you soon. Until then, goodbye. Thank you and all the best.